This is my quick take on Jean-Claude Ellena versus Christine Nagel at Hermès. So, ever since Christine Nagel actually replaced Jean-Claude Ellena as house perfumer at Hermès, there's been this sort of highly contested debate amongst online fragrance enthusiasts whether or not she is an adequate successor. Well, we're about 10 years into her tenure with Hermès, which was around the same time Jean-Claude Ellena had spent with Hermès. So he was on for a little longer than a decade, and she's approaching a decade. Thus, I think any argument about whether or not she is an adequate successor should be laid to rest because she's been with the house as long as he was. Secondly, you have to realize before Jean-Claude Ellena came around, there was not a house perfumer, and Hermès, just like Dior, used to send out briefs to all the major oil houses, and whoever won the brief made the perfume. Thus, you'll notice a lot of older Hermès fragrances have all different perfumers signed to them. Now, when Jean-Claude Ellena did come on board as the first proper house perfumer for Hermès, he really made the brand his own, and he injected his own personal style of light, transparent, with high projection. That was kind of his thing, his work that he had been developing over the years, really an offshoot of his studies underneath his teacher, Pierre Bourdon. Now, Christine Nagel, on the other hand, she had big shoes to fill because she had to not only somehow try and continue the legacy that Jean-Claude Ellena was leaving behind for her, but also at the same time sort of leave her own mark on the house, which is a really bad thing to put someone into in terms of position. You need to both maintain the status quo and also try and do things that are unique to you. Splitting hairs is the best way of putting it. I think, all things considered, she's done a good enough job at keeping things as people expect them to be at Hermès with the style that Ellena put in place, while also factoring in her own little idiosyncrasies and her own personal quirks. For example, Christine Nagel is a big lover of green notes, so a lot of her masculines, as you'll notice if you've smelled H24 and some of her cologne offerings, are much greener than the things Jean-Claude Ellena created. So, all told, it's not a fair comparison. I think it should be laid to rest, and they are both fantastic perfumers.